Yo, welcome everybody to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to Season 17, and a brand new edition in TCR. We are here for the Elite Series for the first time ever, and this is round one for the Mexican Grand Prix. We have 14 rounds this season, new series name, new roster. We're racing our top class on a different day, now on Wednesdays, every week, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We also are keeping the assist restrictions is racing line only for the Elite Series, and you can find out more about TCR, and you can still sign up and join in the description. We have our website for more information. You can join our Discord where we are the more active, and all of our social medias at Trinity Racing. Tonight is a special night because we have a sprint race, but we also have a debut co-commentator, a Challenger Series driver who finished 4th last night, and he'll be joining alongside me for tonight's proceeding. It is Halberg and Seafreeze in the booth. Welcome, Halberg, and welcome to Season 17.
Hey, thanks for having me. Definitely excited for tonight. This is going to be a treat. Full grid, and excited what these guys can do.
Yeah, and it looks like from last night we had a little bit of rain here in Mexico. I guess the forecast, the clouds decided to stick around just a little bit more as we have a full wet qualifying, and followed by a sprint race and then the 50% race. So we're getting more points up for grabs tonight, and 20 drivers out on track. It looks wonderful to start the season. And I am joined, or I'm kind of following on board, the driver in the Alfa Romeo, who by the poll, the predictions for Season 17, he is the favorite coming into this season. He was runner-up Season 16. This is RR Silent, and he has now moved to the Alfa Romeo, so you can see what he will do this season. Although, just moments before we joined here tonight, we had a few extra drivers check in, including a 5-time Platinum Class champion of Beton, who just moments before was not going to even show tonight, and he is classified as a reserve driver, and I think he got that itch to get back out on track. He didn't want to miss a race, and I always say if you're reserving on round one, he might stick around. So he might turn to full time. So I think I think he just scared the you-know-what out of the entire Elite Series grid by showing up here tonight.
I think you're right on that. I've watched some of the races in the past, and man, it's definitely been amazing to see them. And I'm excited for this season. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a battle with a lot of the combination of some of these drivers kind of moving up, and all the shuffles that we've had recently. So.
Yeah, B-Tom, he is a 5-time Platinum Class champion, 4 in a row. He is the defending, reigning, undisputed Platinum Class champion, but he can't defend it because the class is no longer. So I guess we'll definitely crown a new champion in this sense, the Elite Series. For those watching, just want to mention, I know we'll probably be mentioning it all season long, but we have 14 rounds. We're only counting the drivers' best 12 races, so their personal 12 best races on the stat sheet is what is going to be counted. So there's 2 throwaway races, which helps for drivers missing attendance or having an off day, so it'll make it a little bit different as we are counting the points. which is the first time we're ever doing that. So we'll see how this season, and we'll kind of monitor it that way.
I must say I do like the change there. I think it opens up a lot for things to happen throughout the season, especially life happens. But it's going to be a battle. I think what you guys have talked about in the podcast of it coming down to the end. It's going to be interesting how that shakes up.
Oh, you listened to the podcast.
I did.
Here's a sneaky little plug. Episode 38 just dropped yesterday. It was a little late, a little delayed, but it is out. And myself, Camden, and Forzan, who is provisional on the poll, we talked all things Season 17. We did predictions for both series, so you can find that in our podcast on the YouTube side of things. We'll have to get you on one, Halberg.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I think we got to get you on one. We'll pick a nice episode. We'll invite you in. It'll be nice.
All right. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Now, usually on Wednesdays last season is used to be the Golden Class, and that is where the Alpines of GTR Lion and Remsley set the record of the most amount of points scored in TCR as a team, as a unit. They're a very strong unit. This time around, they're up against a little tougher competition with some previous Platinum Class drivers mixing in on this grid. GTR Lion, your Golden Class champion from last season. He has yet to set a lap time, but with this full wet qualifying, repping number 69.
When Bats Plus going out on the intermediates.
He might think it's time to switch over, and you know what? It might be close.
Yeah, I know. Last night in the Challenger Series, it was hard to keep up with the rain. I'll tell you that. I think a lot of us were thrown off by it. We kind of had to settle into the race, but it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen the rest of the sprint race and the main race in this weather.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll stick all the way through too, because we got the sprint and the feature, and you know, sometimes Codemasters and EA they throw a full wet qualifying, and then the next minute, you know, ooh, sunshine, clear skies, birds are chirping.
I know. I don't know if I missed it on the weather last night, but it was not supposed to rain in the main race, and what do you know, lap like 20 or 21 comes around and it just downpours and messed up my my strategy there. But we'll see how it holds up.
We have a DNF retirement of FND Cakes. I think he spun in the final corner, possibly hit the pit wall. Did not get a visual on that, but his best time, a 32.007. Speaking of 007, he is just set a lap time, and he went P6. He is my favorite for this season's championship, but I guess it depends if B-Tom decides to keep showing up or not, as well as Lawrence, who is a reserve, and usually when he shows up, he wins, so he's going to be one to watch all throughout tonight. And in the YouTube comments, we see Blin Machine. Welcome to Season 17. At some point, Blin, you got to come back and do a commentary so my ass can get out on track. This is just a part-time gig for me in the Elite Series commentary. I'm only here part-time until we find a full replacement. This way I can get back out on track. You're welcome back anytime, Blin, anytime.
for Lawrence and Bats Plus, it doesn't look like the intermediates are doing too bad for them.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, Bats just said P3 to him. He moved up the charts, and as you see, Raikkonen now on the inters. Beaton is on the inters. Silent just switched the inters. You know what? Bats Plus is kind of like that guinea pig. He does like to try those little things here and there. He'll be the first to try some, see if it works, see if it sticks or not. And I guess it is working so far.
Yeah, I'm assuming everyone by the on the last lap is all going to go to intermediates at this point. Maybe see what they're doing.
Here in the McLaren on board with Zionicle, your Season 16 Silver Class champion. And we have a stacked lineup on this grid with a bunch of champions, a lot of experience, a lot of faces that we have seen in TCR. So Zionicle Silver Class champion as he drifts into the pit lane, probably putting on the intermediate tires. So we have a few minutes left in the qualify. Halberg, how did you like, because we've never started a season with a sprint race for round 1, as Lawrence goes provisional. How did you like that to start the season off last night, as opposed to possibly just the regular short quali 50%? How did you see that different?
I actually liked it. It kind of rewarded you if you showed up for the first race of the season. You know, I think you made comments before of we'll see if the champion's even on the grid for the first race. So I think it does. I enjoyed it. It gives you a little bit of extra points to start it off.
I also think always showing up for round 1 when the lights go out for the 50%. Everyone kind of gets those nerves, They get the little jitters in the stomach. I feel like the sprint race, maybe did it calm you down, possibly, or
not really, because it was in the rain. So
that's
true. I mean, it was pretty tight and pretty. It was pretty crazy to start it. But we eventually all, I think, settled in.
So had it been dry, it would have calmed you down.
I think so. I think just because you're trying to get a little bit more, a lot of unprediction out there in the rain. Kind of have to get out there and see, how it handles, and maybe even try to adjust some stuff as you go with it. So I think that was kind of the nerve-wracking part of it. And maybe that was just me. I wasn't really prepared for the rain, so I just kind of went with it.
Orange just set a quicker lap time as we have 2 minutes left in the qualifying. Now, I always loved the wet qualifyings because you have to time it right. It's really not all about being the quickest. You have to time the conditions right, and you really want to be the last person. If the track conditions are improving, you want to be the last one to set a lap time. So really anybody could get this pole position. Silent goes P2 ahead of his teammate, his new teammate. Silent and Professional did win the Constructors last year, if I'm thinking correctly. Don't quote me on it. I think they won it. But yeah, new teammate with Forzan.
I'm just gonna say I actually like Haas with Raikkonen and Camden Luca this season. They both seem pretty consistent, so I think they're going to be up there. Right as I was thinking that, it's good to see Camden get up there in 9th. But yeah, like you said, we got to time it right. We'll see what the rest is going to hold.
Yeah. And you know what? Camden and Regan, they were teammates last season in the Golden class. And Camden last season, it was more of a transitional period for him because he switched from controller to the wheel. So now he's got an extra season as he is getting overtaken by an Alfa Romeo here. So they're battling it out a little early. Someone's probably not happy about that. But I think he'll have even bigger improvements. I don't know, maybe not in the standings wise, because this grid is stacked. He might go down in the standings, but I think he'll have a better season performance wise. Oh, as I say that, they both hit. That's probably Forzan and oh yeah, Forzan and Camden coming together in quali. Sir Charles in 8th, another former silver class champion on the grid. He is in the Aston Martin this season, alongside Rockstar. Dirt Shark, I think, or maybe he's with Dirt Shark. Let's see. As we round down. Whole new season, I gotta learn the grid. I gotta learn the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Charles is with Rockstar in Aston Martin. Dirt Shark must be reserving. Lawrence goes 27.2 for provisional, as we have only a few drivers left crossing the line. A little Charles will go P9 in the Ferrari. Williams of F1 Nerd, reserving here from the Challenger Series, goes P13. FFR Raikkonen, across the line, he'll move up to 10th. KD goes 9th, and Silent, another heavy hitter, and he is the last one to cross the line. Did he time the conditions perfectly? He did, but he did not improve, so he will start P3 for the sprint. And that is everybody. No real surprises in my point of view, Halberg. I don't know if you think of any different besides Forzan down in, I believe, 7th. That was. I would probably, or 8th. I would probably expect him to maybe be a little higher up, but it looks, even with the conditions, a pretty normal from what we're kind of used to. Lawrence on provisional, B-Tom in 2nd. You got Silent Bats up there. It was cool to see Alpine. Both drivers very close, as they were all last season. GT and Remsley, 5th and 6th professional, right behind them. Forzan in 8th. KD and Little Charles, that's the top 10. Raikkonen, Zionical, Sir Charles, F1 Nerd, Whisper, Camden, Dirt Shark, Cakes, Giggle, and Kluka. What do you think of the qualifying session there, Halbert?
I think it was great. It's just going to be interesting to see what the sprint race is going to hold with these guys. Everyone drives differently in the rain compared to the dry, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that shakes up.
Yeah, I think was it 8 laps in the sprint?
12 laps. 12.
12 laps.
12 for us, yeah.
All right.
And man, the tire wear around the this track is pretty intense. So it's gonna. I'm not surprised if I see a couple people go mediums for the sprint instead of the softs.
What did you do last night?
I did. Well, I think it rained for the sprint.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
But just the tire wear in general was pretty hard. I actually started on the hards. I was trying to do hards to mediums, but then it ended up raining, so we just went straight to the intermediates.
Okay.
But it's gonna be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, a little cloudy as well, so this is the sprint loading up here. Everybody's picking their setups, or adjusting what they can, which is very minimal, and their fuel, their tires. We haven't done Mexico in a few seasons, so it's cool. It's cool to be back. I know a lot of people really don't like Mexico, but I've always enjoyed it as we are setting on the formation lap. I think it's kind of a quick, it is a quick lap. I don't really think for me, I don't think it's a quick lap. I think it's quite long, but when you really do think about it, it does go quick. The lap times are pretty low, but that S section is quite fun, and I actually enjoyed the stadium section. I think it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of low grip there, but it just allows you to kind of slide the car around and have a little bit of fun.
It does. I like the S section. You really got to watch out for other drivers with how their setup is, because this is a track you can have some different setups out there. I was noticing sometimes I'd catch people up on the S's, and then sometimes they take off a little bit, obviously down the straights, and we kind of were playing this back and forth battle. So it was almost like a chess match out there. So it's gonna be interesting to see this.
Also, not many tracks do this, but Mexico does. We have a double DRS detection zone, so whoever's behind in the stadium section gets DRS for the main stretch as well as between turns 3 and 4. So if you don't get it done in turn 1, you could try and get it done in turn 4, and you get 2. Or even if you do get ahead, you still get, if you get ahead in turn 1, you'll still have the DRS, so it acts a little differently than, I would say, most other tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like most everyone went on mediums, a couple on softs. It's may have tough at the last lap or so. We'll see. Any
quick prediction for the winner here in the sprint?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with Bats Plus.
Bats Plus, nice. Yeah. I'm gonna go with 5-time Plat champion. I think he just scared everybody on the grid. I think he might grab the sprint win.
I didn't want to say it. I felt like you were gonna pick it, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go with Bats Plus. So, I don't know. I like how you said he he's not afraid to change it up. So we'll see how it goes. Take some risks.
All right, so the lights will eventually begin counting down for round number 1 here in the sprint for the Elite Series, Season 17. Let's do it. And it is a huge drag race as everybody is slipping and ducking into the slipstream down to turn 1. Lawrence had a good getaway. Now he is alongside with B-Tom trying to go around the outside. And now how's the inside for turn 2? The Alfa Romeo driver is falling right behind, as it will be Forzan who gains a bunch of spots on the opening lap, as does F1 Nerd, who is up to 7th, as Silent and B-Tom going wheel to wheel, and we've seen a lot of these two in recent seasons. Lots of good battling, but also sometimes they tangle together. B-Tom now under pressure from Forzan, who's trying to go around the outside in the S section. This could be difficult, but he gets it done. So great move there. And we have Mercedes 4th and 5th. Professional teammate with B-Tom for the day, as B-Tom, like I said, is reserving.
Man, my prediction, Bats Plus. I didn't see what happened there, but he definitely fell down. It didn't seem like too many people got in stacked up. I didn't see any major contact or anything, so I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, he was back to P19. Lil Charles had a nice overtake on GTR line in the stadium section. GT will try and get him back, and you see the slipstream effect. They're going to be 3 wide. Red Bull in the inside, that's KD. Remsley around the outside. He's in the Alpine. And by the aerial coverage, well, now it's switched. There's still going to be 3 wide. Drag racing down to turn 4. And there's a little bit of contact. There might be more. And this is getting crazy, Albert. I don't know, the 2x2x2.
Oh my gosh. McLaren side by side through that.
They all single file through the S section. They all figured it out somehow, some way. They figured it out.
An F1 nerd up 8 spots from the start. Those softs definitely helped him out.
He's the biggest winner so far. Biggest loser bats plus down 14 positions. As Raikkonen is into the pits. He is someone, oh, he actually spun on the final corner. So not the greatest way to start his sprint. He was up there with his quali round P10. So not the start the Haas drivers won. Leading charge will be Lawrence, followed by both Alfa Romeo drivers. And this is going to be a nice slipstream effect. There's a pretty big train from P9 back that started at Little Charles, and then some of these top drivers are starting to see a little bit of gaps forming. You have the top 3, then a little gap to B-Tom, and then back to the Alpines.
This little backup and F&D Cakes and you having a giggle, but luckily they stayed away from each other.
Forzan with a double overtake. He is now the leader with the DRS, and he still gets that DRS effect down to turn 4. The slipstream on that main straight is really powerful. Remsley getting past F1 Nerd, who's having a nice performance here after finishing second in last night's race in the Challenger Series. KD with a moment in the S section. He just recently passed Little Charles. He is now the leader of this long train that goes all the way back to Kluka and P19. Little Charles down the inside with slipstream, and the DRS should be an easy move. He takes charge of the train again. And no one else is really able to overtake. It's that DRS train style. Whisper might have a run here on KD, but then loses the momentum out of turn 3. But does he gain it back in time? He'll try the inside. All is fair, a little squeezed out on the outside. KD will have the inside again. Oh, KD goes off the track. He cut it now. Whisper cut it a little bit. Dirt Shark had a
Camden trying to go down the inside.
Yeah, everybody's getting antsy here. They see all this battling.
Yeah.
They want to try and overtake him. Dirt Shark might get a 2-for-1 special. He gets Whisper and KD, who Whisper's having issues here. He's going to get swallowed up by everybody. Here comes Sir Charles. Sends it down the inside. When you see a driver struggling, you kind of have to just keep the pressure on. And now Camden will be the one applying the pressure. He's going to get alongside momentarily as we have a retirement of Kluka. And there he is. And that'll be a safety car.
Yeah, that was getting pretty dicey between about 9th through 15th right there.
Yeah, we got a full safety car here too, so I don't expect many drivers to pit unless they're more towards the mid to, back of the pack. Remember, it's the top 8 who get the points for the sprint.
Looks like F1 nerds in. See if he is. Looks like he's changing to fresh softs again.
Camden putting some fresh softs on. FND coming in. Giggle. And Raikkonen, who got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. He'll get a new wing as well. Based off this sprint and the first few laps, my initial thoughts is that Forzan, Lawrence, and Silent seem to have matched pace during the race. I think they have the edge over B-Tom slightly, who might not have been as prepared as maybe some of these other drivers who have had, they knew they were showing up tonight. B-Tom, I think, was a last minute, everybody's coming on tonight. Maybe I'll also join.
He's like, you're right. They've been pulling away. It's gonna be interesting on this last what they can do for with the sprint. Last 5 laps here, or 4 laps it ends up being. But yeah, for the most part, Silence, Lawrence, and Forzan has just been on their own.
I think Remsley pitted as well. Some people pitted on this second lap, which I don't really agree with because I think you lose even more time. Sir Charles, Remsley, and Whisper all came in for some sauce. Remsley was up there with his teammate GT inside the top 8 and decided to pit. He now comes out P16 just ahead of Bats Plus, who had also put on new soft tires. He also had that issue at the beginning on lap 1.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle for the last, I think, maybe 7th and 8th for the last points in this sprint. With a lot of people going on softs right now in the later part of the pack.
And I know the sprint rewards the top 8 for the points, but every position is a qualifying position. That's where you start the feature race, unless they changed it. last time, right. Last time I looked.
Yeah.
So even if you're not getting points, you still want to start up as high as you can. So that's interesting. Remsley decided to pit. He also has he has a drive-through penalty. He also got hit with speeding.
So we've got Sir Charles going back in. I think he may have made a mistake there and went on fresh medium, so I think he's probably going to come back and try to get on softs.
Sir Charles and Camden, they both did a good job commentating last night's Challenger Series. They usually do the top series in the Platinum class like they've been doing last season and last few seasons. But they race on the Elite Series, so the duo, commentary duo, they did a nice job last night, so I have to tip my cap.
Absolutely, I went back and listened to it, and they did a really good job.
Yeah, they know their stuff. They know their stuff. We got a comment here by US Open Wheel. Thank you for commenting and tuning in tonight. He says, looks like boxing was a mistake. Not much to gain in 3 laps. And I agree as well. I don't think, unless you had damage or you were really, unless you were like 15th on backwards, I don't really understand pitting. Oh, we have a huge, whoa.
What just happened?
In my books, I'd extend the safety car, but I don't think the game will do that. F1 Nerd just crashed out on under the safety car, and he's out.
And there may be a couple others that have wing damage.
As we'll see who enters the pits, but we are back green. We have 3 laps left in the sprint race. Who will start on pole position for the feature race and grab those 8 extra points? Camden and Zionicle going wheel to wheel. Camden out ahead.
Oh, little moment for Forzand.
Ooh, some carbon fiber flying around. I don't think that was from Bats Plus. Has front right wing damage. I think he might have clipped the back of Remsley, perhaps, or the McLaren of Whisper. As he hits the styrofoam. Up ahead, B-Tom and Silent. Wheel to wheel in the stadium section. Professional gets the inside on B-Tom. He gets his arms out. And welcome GTR Line to the conversation. This makes me proud. Look at GT going wheel to wheel with a 5-time platinum class champion. He himself a golden class champion from last season. It's cool to see how much he's improved from a full season of work that he put in to get that championship. He is a real threat now in the Elite Series. He is up with the big dogs.
Man, it looks like Whisper, GT and Whisper's out. Not sure what happened there. Looked like Zionicle had to avoid him, or maybe they connected.
Ooh, big lock up there from Dirt Shark. Almost probably hit the back of Lil Charles, who has returned this season. It's cool, nice to see Lil Charles back in TCR, and he's in the Ferrari. Sir Charles get past FND. He's going to try and get past Dirt Shark now. And I expect this all season long. If we continue to have drivers show up, this mid-pack the battling is going to be constant. There's just too much to. We're going to miss stuff. I know it. We're coming down to the final few corners. Forzan was able to keep in charge of Lawrence here. And I think he'll go on to win the sprint race, and the additional points that is rewarded, he'll go on to get the top spot to start P number 1 in the feature race. Lawrence will be P2 silent, P3 professional, ahead of B-Tom. GT, Camden, and Giggle will be the top 8. All those drivers getting points. And the rest is followed.
Driver of the day, Camden Luca. It was a 7th place finish for him. That was a nice finish on the softs for him. He was one of the ones that I think battled up there. Nice work.
Alright, so Forzan kind of backing up a little bit of what he said on the podcast episode this week. He starts off the season perfect, getting the 8 points. And look at that, Halberg. Clear skies.
Ooh. I don't know. That's what they showed me last night, too, and it poured on us. So, I don't know. Don't trust it. Gotta stay on your toes.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't trust it for nothing. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're watching it back also, thanks for rewatching it. Don't forget to hit the like if you are enjoying. Give us a comment. Share it out. We're very close to 600 subscribers. We're only 2 away. I know everybody has at least one friend that would love our content here in TCR. So share it out. Let's get 600. Let's try and grow this season in season 17, a new era of TCR, and we're all here for it. We've got a nice 50% race coming up every Tuesday and Wednesday, Challenger and Elite, and we are starting to run iRacing as well in the Super Formula. Those are on Thursdays. That starts next week. We don't know if we're going to be commentating it, but we are starting to form that series. Try and get it a little bit better.
I wonder if anybody's gonna go on the hards to start. I don't know what the weather looks like, but that is a play around here with some of the tire wear.
Yeah, I remember in previous games, a 2-stop wouldn't be out of the question because it's a pretty short pit lane, and due to the tire wear, if you do like soft medium soft or soft medium medium. That could also be in play, but I think as in recent years, the 1-stop is just still the strategy. I would expect a lot of the top half of the grid to start on the hards, just because I know from previous seasons with the Platinum drivers, they all tend to start on the hard tire. So I think Forzan, Silent, Lawrence, Beaton Professional, all those top drivers, I think they'll be on the hards to start. Possibly some others back in the mid pack will maybe opt for a little, maybe they'll do medium hard. And then obviously we don't get the weather forecast, but if that is in play, you know, they might know something we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hards are a great tire on this game. I think even around here, it was through the S section, they can really keep up.
Yeah, it is. It is a good race tire, and I'm somewhat right, somewhat not. Forza and Silent both opting for the hard, so Alfa Romeo going for the hard medium strat. Everybody else starting on the mediums for the most part. Giggle in 8th on the hards. We got Katie and Kluge farther down the pack, and with the soft tire.
Yeah, surprised a little bit more mediums than I would expect, but you never know with safety cars. You get, you know, kind of an early safety car, something like that, early-ish, we'll say, which is possible.
Alright, well, we are on the formation lap, and that means we have to do our official predictions for the top 3 in this race. So, Halberg, who do you got for the top 3? And for those watching, leave your top 3 in the comments.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to go with Forsland to start for P1. And then Lawrence with P2, yeah, they were just so consistent in the sprint race already. And I think B. Tom's going to get up there. I think he's going to settle in. You know, just hearing about his past, I think he's got the experience to definitely get up there and get on foot.
Nice. And I just want to mention for those watching, I know his username is Forslund, which you pointed out to me because of the way you said it, which I didn't know, but his username in Discord is Forzan. So if I say Forzan or Forslund, that's who I am looking at. But since you picked Forzan, I'm gonna go with Silent. Everybody's saying he's the favorite. I think for the 50% race, he'll get up there and win it. Lawrence, I'm gonna put P2. And I like B-Tom for P3. I think Forzan might have an issue. He did in qualifying, and you also picked him, so I can't pick him either. But here we go. Lights are coming on for the feature race here, the Mexican Grand Prix, round number 1 for the Elite Series. Season 17 begins now. Let's do it! As we get a slipstream drag race battle to turn 1. It's Forzan and Lawrence. They will begin here in Season 17. Silent might even make it 3 wide, but he'll think better of it as there's the entire grid of 20 drivers all squeaking through this tight chicane as we have a spin here. And it includes Silent, and he'll go all the way down to P20. He tangled up, I think, with possibly B-Tom. I'd have to get another look in that. I'm not too sure who it was.
We went GTM Whisper, having to take some evasive move there. Almost ran in the back of, I think it was Ionical.
And Lawrence from Forzan, B-Tom in 3rd. We have Bats Professional, Camden, Giggle, FND getting ahead of GTR Lion, who had an issue, or maybe not an issue, but a slow start, maybe getting tangled up, avoiding action from the silent spin. And this is just a mess back here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is. Nerd flying by Zionical.
Yeah, that's something to see, right? I mean, runner up to
Yeah.
him last season. Now he's in. He's like, all right, I think I'll reserve, and as long as I beat Cyanical, I'm good.
Looks like Dynacle's saving some of his battery, so he's probably playing the long game there.
Yeah, these opening laps are always tough. You never know who's using how much battery until you get to a few laps in, and then you start to see people struggling with the battery, even the light blinking. So sometimes you have to stay conservative, but at the same time, you do have to use some battery so that you don't lose too much too soon. So there's really a fine balance you need to find in the opening laps, or even on a safety car restart. Because there are people who like to press and hold the battery button.
Absolutely. You get some pressure on someone, and it can really maybe have them make a mistake or something like that on the restarts. But yeah, some of them just, the first 2 laps, it seems like it's nothing but battery.
Hornets gaining the lead from Forzan. B-Tom just behind 1.3. We'll get DRS activated later this lap. Or for next lap, they'll be able to use it. Bats, after having a struggled sprint race, finds himself P4 ahead of Professional. Camden having a nice start to his round 1 in 6th. He said he looked good, he felt good, dialed in practice just moments before this.
Looks like we've got the separation. Started with Camden Luca in the front, P6, GTR Lion right behind. That mid pack is going to be interesting here.
Yeah, I think all season long. A lot of these drivers are returning drivers, mainly from the Golden class, so they all have history. They all kind of know each other's tendencies, and I do believe with practice and preparation, they can find their way, battle up towards the field, get closer to some of those drivers that, from the Platinum class racing here in Elite, now newly named.
Looks like we just had KD and Sir Charles going side by side, and KD spins out and looks like he just wrecks.
Oh
man, they were bumping back and forth. Looks like someone else was collected with that too.
As Silent is out. Oh, wow. That is a bummer. That was my pick for the race win.
Man.
And many people's favorites, so he is out of this race on very early on as well. Only lap 4. He's going to have to watch the rest from the YouTube. Wow. I'd love to see onboards after this, because it seemed like he was back there right because he spun on lap 1, and it kind of just put him kind of in a vulnerable situation, and stuff like that can happen, especially if you got a 20, you got a full grid, and you have a pack like that that's just been fighting, just, slugging it out. Something like that could easily happen to some of these quicker drivers who, I'm not saying they don't, they're not used to having tight battles, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I always say
F1 Nerd getting a new wing here, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
Looks like there may have been
Raikkonen
maybe
too.
3 or 4. Yeah.
I always say when drivers are put in different situations that they're not used to, that's when sometimes things occur. So sometimes, like, if you have someone who usually runs towards the back of the pack, if they are leading a safety car restart out of nowhere, that's usually when something could happen, because he usually doesn't have the pace to be up leading laps, and now all of a sudden he's leading laps. So something could happen there. But I also say, sometimes the people who are always leading, if they find themselves at the end of the grid, that's also when sometimes some things happen. So Silent's usually not in the back. So that's something unusual for him. Sometimes things happen. So yeah,
especially if you're pushing a little bit too hard and you've got drivers in front of you that you're obviously normally faster than. You never know what can happen with that. Zionical comes in and changes on the intermediates. Not sure what that's about.
That seems... Oh, you know what? He's done this before. And
I was going to say, he's done it before when it was back in silver. I remember it. Maybe he knows something we don't know.
I'd put my money on it. He might look like an idiot now, but when it's a downpouring in a minute, he's going to look like a genius. I mean, there's not even a drop out there, Halberg.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that was a mistake. I don't know.
Do me a favor. Stick your head out of the commentary booth. Do one of the little, stick your hand out. Look up. See if anything hits you. And I'm not talking about the dog poop. The bird poop, rather. Well, we'll see. I mean, safety car is in this lap. I think he did a little early. Because it's going to take at least a lap or two for even if the rain hits now, which I still don't see anything looking on board with Zionical. I don't see anything popping up. And even if it did, it would take an extra lap or two for the track to get wet. So
this last section is so hard on safety car restarts. Everybody gets stacked up in it.
Here we go, back green. After one of the heavy hitters is out early on, Silent DNFs from this race. Forzan and Lawrence going side by side. B-Tom gets a nice exit. Will he look for 3 wide? The track does get a little tight right under the braking zone. It gets a little tighter.
Oh, we have a spin from Kluka.
Yep, he is reserving here tonight. Challenger driver.
Yeah. It's been good racing with him. He's definitely fast. That's for sure.
He did win the sprint last night as well.
It does look a little overcast. That sky's not shining as bright as it was when we first started. So
that is true. I will agree with that. I would expect rain. Looks like it, could hit any moment. There it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm starting to see it now.
But
yeah, Kluka goes in. He went ahead and pit on the soft for the intermediates.
It's gonna take a little bit of time for the track to get, greasy. I'd say intermediates are more like greasy weather, But Zionical, we'll see if he has slow lap times right now. He might overheat his tires. But will he track might just come in to where he might get ahead of some of the drivers he was racing against. It all depends who pits this lap, and I think drivers might wait an extra lap.
Just had F&D Cakes go on the inside of Camden Luca. It's a nice pass. When Camden Luca comes in.
There it is. One goes, they all go. And DRS just got it disabled, and that, for a lot of people, is the trigger to come into the pit lane. Haas had a double stack, so Raikkonen has a slower pit stop. You could add that to the list of things that have not gone his way tonight. Professional and GT racing side by side. Professional takes the position, retains it. He was running 5th.
I'm watching Zionical. He's not really catching up to GTM Whisper. So may not be quite the crossover point. The leaders may be smart to be staying out right now.
Yeah,
see
but
if any of them come in this one though.
It's a good point, but if you look at the end, he's got a big moment there. You look at the gap that he has over Camden. You know, he's now ahead of Camden, who's running pretty high. I think he was up there around where GT was, so Zionical could be gaining a lot of positions here, possibly top 5 once the leaders pit.
Absolutely. I mean, with the intermediates, you really got to drive them, and it takes a few laps to really get going. I mean, you're in it for the long haul with them, so you could have an advantage when they come in and they pit on the fresh intermediates.
We have Remsley looking around the outside of Camden. Now the inside. It's all about that exit. Now no more DRS, so it's all battery and slipstream. Down to turn 4. He might go for a dive. I think it's better if it sticks back in the line of Camden, who we have a DNF of F&D Cakes out in the beginning of the S section. That's going to be a safety car. And I do expect Halberg, everybody's got to be coming in who probably didn't pit yet.
Absolutely. F1 nerd with drive-through penalty.
That's not what you want. I think they still have a tire in the back. I still see F&D Cake's tire just hanging by the barriers. Now look at this for strategy. Bats Plus. Did I not say earlier in this stream that Bats Plus likes to be the guinea pig sometimes, and he likes to try things out of the ordinary, or did I not say that?
And then Zionical's coming in. I'm not sure. Okay, he's going for intermediate again. Yeah, absolutely.
Bats Plus probably thinks, you know what? We're probably at least another 2-3 laps under the safety car. You know what? I don't think the conditions will get as worse as this, and they're probably going to be drying back up. Sometimes the soft tire performs nice in these greasy conditions. So it's definitely a risk. He doesn't have to take the risk. He was running P4 anyway. But I guess he thinks, hey, you know what? Might as well.
Still a long way to the end, though, and I think if it does dry up, we're going to see some, everyone go on the hards, or maybe even the mediums again, but I don't know, we'll see.
Although that kind of gives me mixed signals because Ionical did pit again. So if you think it was going to be drying up very quickly, you know, why would he come back in again? So
I agree. I didn't see any wing change on Zionical.
But he did gain positions, Zionical, but I think the reason he came in is he put the inters on a little too soon to where he probably overheated his tires, and he got a lot of wear, because they do wear a lot more under dry conditions than with the conditions that they're supposed to be used in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it was just a little bit too early for him.
So we are down to 18. Sometimes in some 5-lap races, you start, if it's on dynamic weather, they get the conditions could be kind of mixed. Inters, like a very greasy track, but not like fully intermediate weather. I don't know if it happens on this game, but I know in previous games that has happened. And sometimes the soft tire is quicker than the intermediate, or just about the same. But I think these conditions are definitely intermediate weather. So this could be a misplay by Bass Plus.
Yeah, he seems to be doing okay with it. He's not sliding too much out there, so we'll see when they get up to full speed, though.
So far, Halberg 13 laps into the feature race. Any surprises? Shocks? Or what are your initial thoughts?
I think it's stacking up how, you know, it mostly was in the sprint race. Obviously, Silent going out early. That's unfortunate for him, being the first one out. That's probably the biggest shocker of all of them. But this midfield is just so jumbled up. It's kind of hard to almost predict what's going to happen with all of that right now. But I mean, my 1, 2, 3 is
looking good.
Looking good.
Exactly how you planned it up.
Trifecta for any horse racers out there. My trifecta. So.
Well, I know you weren't up last night, planning this whole thing out, because B-Town wasn't even supposed to be here, and Lawrence, I think, just checked in today as well, so that was some good picks you had so far. Safety car in this lap. And I am watching Bats Plus, that's all I know.
Glued on him, yeah. That could get ugly too, if him being so high up the pack.
Safety cars usually breed more safety cars, and with someone on the soft tires in rainy conditions, I'd say something could happen. Oh!
GTR line almost had a moment.
Bats Plus hangs on to it and almost gets taken out by Bats. He's already down one position. Professional, gaining a lot on Bats. At least he'll be able to overtake him on the straightaway here. As Giggle also has a big momentum, and he is going top. He's looking for top 5 here in Elite Series. It's cool to see Giggle having a nice run so far. Giggle's a long-time driver in TCR, over 100 race starts. Oh, this is jumbled up. Camden hits the back of Rensley, and he spins around. Whisper is out of the race. Little Charles had to cut the S section there to avoid Whisper and Carnage. He gets himself a penalty. We have another safety car.
Yeah, some of those braking points into the S's there in this condition can be brutal, and it can be all over the place. So I think they just kind of got stacked up a little bit. Unfortunate there for Camden.
We are down to 17.
That's plus staying out. He thought about it. He wanted it. He's committed to it. I gotta give him that.
I say all the time, when drivers, especially in mixed conditions, and I am 100% guilty of this, there's so many examples of me messing up strategies, or some that, or very few that go the way I planned them. Once you stick to a strategy, us drivers are the most stubborn drivers out there, because even if it's not working, 100% not working, we're committed. We are 100% stubborn. We picked something and we're gonna pick it until the wheels fall off, and that's what Bats Plus is doing. He is stubborn for staying out.
It's like you don't let yourself believe it until like maybe the last lap. You're like, oh, okay, maybe this didn't really work out.
It's like, well, looking back at it, and there's trust me, there's plenty of examples of me and the many other drivers included where we have stubborn moments.
Absolutely, but this weather in this game really is so unpredictable. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, I feel like last night the rain came down so hard, so quick, and that's where I thought Zionicle was going to have it there with going to the intermediate so early. But it looked like it actually took a few laps to really develop, really come down, unlike last night. So it could be worth it. Worth the gamble sometimes.
Well, and he finally pits in this lap. Bats Plus in the pit lane. And whenever a driver who does a strategy call like that finally does pit, that means they're waving their hand and saying, "Yep, I was wrong. I'm coming in." That's like the white flag there.
Yep.
Although sometimes on this game, when you do pit and select a tire, sometimes it does give you the wrong tire. Like, that could happen as well. So I'm not entirely putting it on Bats to where he chose the soft tire. He could have picked the Inters, or maybe he forgot to change the tire. That could also be. I wouldn't put that past me.
Yeah, I've seen both. I've seen the glitch in the game where you've clearly got one selected and it puts something else on. I've done it so many times by accident where I've almost had it highlighted and select over to the right by accident or something, and it changes it at the last second. So yeah, I've definitely done that. Been there, done that.
Well, I know Zionicle is also trying new things. He's now on the wet tire. The safety car is in this lap.
Looks like F1 Nerd still has that drive-through. I don't know if that was new or if he didn't serve it.
It is stacked up in the back of the pack, but it is ready to go, with Corzan leading charge over Lawrence, then B-Tom. There's some major Forsan went all the way down to the inside to try and defend some of that slipstream. GTR Lion looking around the outside, now the inside on B-Tom. This is for third, a little bit of contact. A little bit of contact in these conditions.
KD gets past Giggle. I think he had a little moment coming out of there trying to keep up with 007 and GTR Lion.
This is just stacked up. There's so many drivers so close in pace, there's just nowhere to put them. It's nice to see KD out on track. He did a lot of commentaries last season for the Golden Class on Wednesdays. This season he is in the driver's seat.
Looks like Sir Charles has a 3-second penalty. I wonder if that's track limits, most likely.
And you can see from a little bit of the aerial coverage, a lot of drivers losing the back end, having to catch it just periodically.
Yeah, it looks like Remsley coming in.
And was he
Going on
puts
full
the wets. Wow.
Puts the wets on. I've seen a lot of them kind of losing it and having little moments.
And look at
They're
this.
starting to pull out there.
Cyanical gets off the wets. He goes back on the inters. So who's right?
What is
Who's wrong?
I'm so confused.
Professional gets past GT. He's back up to fourth. There's a little bit of gap forming now with them battling to B-Tom. And then a 3-second gap to the top two, which include Forzan and Lawrence. Still 1 and 2. Now sometimes if these conditions start to get full wet, sometimes the inters could work for a good majority of the laps. And I think we are getting to the full wet conditions because it is really downpouring now. And you could see the drivers really losing it off the final corner. The back end is starting to come around on them. But sometimes the drivers who have track position, they'll wait as long as they can until drivers in the back of the pack will go onto the full wets because they're trying to catch a safety car. They don't want to get caught out on these condition changes.
Oh, we have a caution in the last. Oh, looks like Raikkonen, he spun. Not sure what happened there.
Could add that to the list. Raikkonen having a pretty down day for his opening round. A little spin there, local yellow. I think this lap we might see some more takers for the wets. Oh, Dirt Shark! He had an amazing drift. I thought he was maybe gonna catch it, but he spun it around.
Yeah, it looked like he was gonna save it, and then it just went on at the last moment.
Kluka gets a penalty. He cut the pit lane there. He'll be switching onto the wets. these are the tricky conditions when you're on inters on a full wet track. It could be fun, but it is also challenging, really testing the driver's mental capacity.
Yeah, it looks pretty challenging out there. I know the braking's never easy in the rain, but man, they're getting all over the place. Maybe right on the wet, but yeah, you don't want to give up the position either.
Yeah, because I think most drivers right now, they're like, you know what, these conditions are rough, but track position's way too important, especially with, 17 drivers still in this thing. Everybody kind of have seen the battling so far in the mid-pack. If you have track position, try to keep it as long as you can. And you never know, the conditions could start to come back to where they lighten up and the inters start working again.
Absolutely. It's sometimes just survival, just staying with it.
I would probably think the top 8 would have to pit regardless again, because I don't think the inters could even last to the end of the race. I think they'd get too worn out.
Yeah, they've got some like Camden Luca and Little Charles and Bats Plus. Their intermediates are only 5 and 6 laps old, so they can definitely go a little bit longer if they need to.
There's a pair of silver champions battling it out. Camden gets ahead. Little Charles is...
Oh! What?
What just happened?
In my screen, it looked like he lifted him off the ground.
So Ferrari has the new forklift front wing design. We'll have to watch out for that.
Sir Charles coming in and getting the wets. Maybe the rain's here to stay.
Well, good thing we're in here. Good thing we're in here. Little Charles gets past Camden, I do believe.
We at least had about 20 laps last night in drives for the main race. So these guys are definitely getting it right now in the rain.
Oh, here we go. Little bit of a yellow. That's going to be Giggle. Has no front wing.
He goes around.
Yeah, he spun it out of the exit.
Safety car.
Oh, wow. And B-Tom took advantage of it. The top 2 were already past the pit lane. That's going to give advantage to B-Tom and everybody else who decides to take advantage of this. Professional getting held up very slightly, but won't do much to his race. KD is in. GT, our Lion is in. And it's another set of intermediate tires.
Looks like Remsen drive through. I don't know if that's this one. I assume so.
Is that his second one tonight?
Maybe. I don't remember him serving it. I don't know. I don't remember it also being on there.
I think it just popped up. That could be his second one if that was him earlier. It's uncharacteristic for him to get some of those penalties. Alright, so it's going to take a few laps for these drivers to get all caught up. We had a little bit of, what do you call it? Field spread.
And there we go. Looks like we have Lawrence and Forzan in for the in the pits. See if they go on the wets. Oh, I believe stayed on the intermediates.
Yeah.
Fresh pair.
And they're going to lose out here because they are going to be... Forzan gets right ahead of KD, so he'll start third. Lawrence loses one extra position, so he'll be down to fifth. So that's a little bummer for them because they were running 1-2 for the most of this race, and safety car came out just at a bad time. They passed the pit lane, and it allowed B-Tom, Professional, and KD to grab that advantage. So they were able to pit while Forzan and Lawrence had to go around the track again, which gave, you know, they missed out a little bit.
Yeah, Professor's been he's been professional. He's been climbing back up there for sure.
Yeah, I've talked to Professional. You know, people forget that he's had. Well, maybe they don't forget, but you know, he had a down season last season with him not really having his performances that he had in season 14 and 15. He finished runner-up both of those seasons, and probably had he put the most pressure on B-Tom for the championship that we've seen in recent years. He had a down season, and you know, I come back with this new points format of us counting the 12 of 14 races. You know, I had him kind of as my driver this season, looking at the grid with his experience and the motivation he has. He's someone who always puts a race together. You know, he started a little farther down, around 5th or so, and he always is. He's just a racer. He tries to get the most out of his race. And he says sometimes, you know, he thinks that Silent and Forzan and others are quicker than him. But I kind of disagreed. I think he still has the speed to match. Now he finds himself in a good position with a somewhat late race safety car. And I'm pretty sure that if you ask Professional, hey, on lap 25 when the safety car comes out, do you think you'll be behind B-Tom again? to start the safety car. I don't think he had that in his cards
No.
tonight.
He's consistent. He's definitely been just chipping away at it, and I think that's what's helping him out and why he's been able to be so successful. It's just kind of hanging around there, but he's just consistent with it, you know. So he'll take a spot from you pretty easily.
So we get the safety car in this lap. And it is cool to see B-Tom leading this thing. 5-time Platinum Class champion. His first appearance in the Elite Series as a reserve driver, quote unquote. As we get this thing back on rolling, round 1 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Got 11 laps left. Let's see who's got it. Big error there from B-Tom. He went deep into the braking zone, but he recovered it nicely. conditions they look like they're lighting up a little bit, so the inters are going to be stronger. Those who went on to the wets might have been a little too late.
I was going to mention that earlier, that it looked like it was kind of lightening up, but I don't know. It seems like it's here to stay for a while.
Here comes Forzan down the inside on Professional. He's not going to waste any time. He wants to get back up to lead this race. He doesn't want to let B-Tom get away.
Zionic almost got sideways there, and I think it looks like he just let Dirt Shark through. And Dirt Shark has a moment in the last turn. Zionic takes him back.
Yeah, we saw earlier Dirt Shark went for a spin in the stadium section. It looked like he almost went around again, but he was able to recover. Lawrence gets KD. He's up to 4th now. Raikkonen getting past Zionical. After a long list of negatives on his day, he finds himself in the points behind his teammate. But I feel like the Haas's and the Ferrari of Little Charles is going to struggle here as the conditions start to dry up. Their wets are going to be slower and slower, and if it doesn't get back to dry, they're probably going to have to pit while everyone else could possibly make it to the end. So it could be big losses from the Ferrari engine team. Here we go, Forzan and B-Tom on the front stretch. Forzan was ahead, now B-Tom climbs back ahead. Now Forzan ahead. Down to turn 1.
Bats Plus and Zionical side by side. Looks like Bats Plus just able to overtake him there.
This is good racing here. Mercedes side by side, Professional in the inside. B-Tom goes late on the brakes. He'll have the inside for 5. Little tap to Forzan. Lawrence is squeezing down the inside. He's going to have to back out of it as they enter the S section. Ooh, wow. Lawrence sends a dive, and he gets Professional into the entrance of the stadium. Now, Lawrence knows he has identical pace to Forzan. He just has to make sure that he can get past Professional and B-Tom if he wants a shot at it.
Watching this battle for 9th and 10th between Raikkonen, Bats Plus, and Zionical. Man, they're just changing positions back and forth.
Ooh, Bats gets a time penalty there. So that's not going to help him. Look at this, Raikkonen closed up to his teammate. This brings Camden vulnerable to losing some points. Raikkonen gets ahead of Camden.
Professional got ahead of B-Tom.
Charles gets ahead of Zionical there. Nice battling here for the final few points. Penalty to Camden. Charles gets the inside. He has a nice run. Bats gets Raikkonen. So we go back up to the front, and like you said, yeah, Professional got past B-Tom. So up front, it is a 2.5 second gap between Forzan and Lawrence, and the laps are ticking down.
We have a Remsley coming in.
Yeah, I think he's had enough. He had, I think, those 2 drive-through penalties, and he at least went deep enough into the race to where he said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to score any points here today. As we have...
Looks like Raikkonen and Sir Charles getting together there.
Look at Kluka now in a position to...
I was just going to say that.
Back into this.
Look at that. Let's go.
That's the underdog fight. I love it.
Yeah, he wanted a little redemption after last night. I know that was tough for him.
Yeah, look at this. He's going to get... Oh, that's Remsley's car. Wow. Remsley's car, he retired, and then, yeah, I forget the game likes to shoot it back out on track and park it into turn 1.
Yeah, he did go into the pits there.
Yeah, no, Remsley he did the right thing, but, yeah, the game is the game.
Yep.
Bats plus on the back of Lil Charles, who is still on those wet tires. And there should be a nice, easy overtake. If not here, on the main stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, it hits the back of him. That's one way to do it, too. Bax gets the position, but Charles is going to slip into the slipstream. Man, it's going to make it difficult on him. Well, they bump front wheel tires for the moment. Bats went deep onto the brakes, and with those intermediate grip, he is now long gone.
Yeah, we'll see how some of these penalties shake up. I know Katie's got the 3 seconds. Got Bats Plus with 3 seconds there, along with Sir Charles and Kluka. Let's see how this ends.
Yeah, good point. There's Pretty much the top 7 all have big gaps. The closest drivers will be Charles.
Yeah.
We have Charles and Charles. Charles took over. Well, which one? Well, I don't know. the one in the green suit. And too bad Kluka had that penalty, because if he could hang on to 10th, that would have been a nice comeback drive from some of his earlier struggles earlier on in this race.
Absolutely.
But even just to get an on-track 10th is still good news for him. But it's not over yet. He's got Zionical closing in, just 8/10 behind.
He's catching little Charles, so we'll see how these next couple laps turn out. He's able to extend that to the points, or the penalties don't hurt him too much. At least allow him to get some points. It looks like he just made up. Luca made about a half a second there on little Charles just in that last sector. So.
Yeah, you're right. He could possibly, if he gets a little Charles and pulls away, he could still probably get some points, because Raikkonen is too far back. Kluka gonna pull up alongside. Will we do the same thing that Bats did the last lap? Go deep on the brakes? No. But it's all about this exit. It's all about this traction zone right here. The Inters seem to be a little bit better. Charlie able to hold on.
Get it.
Just mention Forzan out in front after winning the sprint race earlier on tonight. He has a 4-second gap over Lawrence, who's been trailing him for a better part of the night. Professional finds himself in P3. B-Tom just under, right around the second mark. So that possibly could change, but he is under 10% on the battery. It's going to be hard for him to make overtake KD in 5th. GT could possibly get that position with that half a second, as we have some battling here as Little Charles, Zionical, and Kluka now all battling as we are on the penultimate lap here, on lap 35.
Yeah, it looks like Kluka and Little Charles got together there and allowed Zionical right through.
Oh, Little Charles went deep. He counterlocks, hits Zionical, allows Kluka to get past. That's a big error there. Luckily, he didn't take Zionical fully out. He's got Dirt Shark now behind him. Ooh, nice move, Dirt Shark. Cart Charles napping. We'll move up to 11. Both Ferraris, I will say, had some nice pace here tonight, but with strategy not really working out for them, they find themselves outside of the points for the time being.
Yeah, GTR line hanging in there with KD. It looks like that penalty may switch those positions around.
as we are on the final lap in the final sector. Now on board with the Alfa Romeo of Forzan, his teammate DNFing P20, and Forzan will look to start off great in Season 17 as he hunts for a championship here in the Elite Series. He's going to round the final corner, and he will win the Mexican Grand Prix for round number 1. Lawrence gets P2 and holding on to a podium, well-deserved, professional on the podium.
Looks like Dirt Shark came into the Luca and Zionical matchup and maybe getting this last points paying position here.
Alright, coming around the final corner, who's it gonna be? I think it'll be Zanical and Dirt Shark. Kluka just misses out on some points, but nonetheless, good drive from him. With 20 drivers showing up, it's going to be hard to score some points. Some people are just not going to score some points.
Absolutely, yeah, great drive by him to, crawl it back there in a little redemption again from last night. Zionical with driver of the day, squeezes in there with the points. What a race.
That was good. That was good. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Would have loved a little bit more dry, weather action. I'm sure we all would, but I mean, what a race to start. It does feel good to be back, and especially after the winter break, it's nice to be back driving again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have liked to seen a little bit more dry weather as well, but I guess we'll have to come back next week, which we are at Miami for the Miami Grand Prix. And Forzan even got the fastest lap. So he grabs an extra point there too, which I believe is a grand slam.
Wow, yeah.
Did
right.
he have I know he won the sprint, but where did he start in qualifying? Oh, 8th. So he didn't get the quali. Okay.
Oh, wow.
But he got the maximum points, so it's not technically a grand slam, but he got maximum points.
Awesome. Well, I will jump off and let you guys do the interviews if you want. Thanks for having me. Absolutely blast. First time coming in here and commentating.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more of you, and yeah, it's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, have me on the podcast. We'll chat it up sometime, man. Would love to.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Alright. The drivers are joining. We are now ready for some interviews. If anyone watching on YouTube, I have the YouTube side of things up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll be sure to ask. Other than that, let's get things going. Professional in the Mercedes here tonight. P3 getting himself a podium. Looked tough out there. Looked like a well-deserved podium.
Hey, yeah, I'm a little sweaty. It's been, I think, a season or yeah, I think just over a season since I got my last podium here in TCR. So I'm really quite pleased with how tonight went, considering all the safety cars and some of the carnage, especially in the 50% on lap one. I don't know who it was, but I think it was a Haas just really sent it down the inside, and I tried to defend it, but then I didn't want to like hold that line because the narrow or the line was so bad into that corner, and he and took out silent, and I barely avoided carnage myself. So after that, it was just about trying to stay at the front and trying to stay within DRS, which I wasn't able to do at some points. Like once you lose DRS, it's pretty much impossible to make any ground and just not get swallowed up by the guy behind. But the rain proved a huge challenge for all the drivers, myself included. Had a really good battle with Beaton, and yeah, I think I had the pace on him overall. But I think it was towards the start of the stints where he just kind of pulled it out a little bit, and then as the tires wore in, then I found the pace, and I was running higher wings than him, from what I recall, so that probably helped after the tires wore down. But yeah, kind of sweaty, happy with the podium, good battles, avoided all the carnage, so what more can you ask for in the first round of the championship?
And I do believe last season, how many podiums did you have?
0.
All right, so
Nada.
we turned up on the right side of the bed this season. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So far, it's a good
so
start.
far
Yeah.
so good. Did you think you'd be battling B Tom all race? He just signed up 5 minutes before the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could look at that like a good thing and a bad thing because the good thing was I'm battling a five-time
Five-time.
champion of TCR. The bad thing was that he did sign up like 5 minutes before. But also you have to think, it was raining during quali and
Yeah.
most of the 50%, and I didn't do any wet practice on Mexico. I literally guessed on a wet setup, just kind of jacked up the wings, made a few suspension roll bar changes and tire pressure changes, and I could have done a better job. But if it was dry, I think definitely would have been closer to the front, but I don't think I would have been able to battle Forzan or Cody Lawrence. I think I would have had more legs on B-Tom, though.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I think out of whoever was finished the race, I think you were definitely P3 out on track. I think if it was dry, you might have been able to stick with them with the DRS and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
With
I
the
think
DRS, that's the key.
with the DRS, that is the key. But I think you kind of you got exactly what you deserved today. So I think all things considered, good way to start the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll go to P2 here now. Lawrence, in
Hello.
what car are you in? AlphaTauri? I forget.
That was tonight. That was tonight.
That was tonight. Oh, that is right. All right. It makes me feel better. Yeah, how'd you feel out there? It looks, for the most part, you were trailing Forzan for most of the race, but it seemed like you had enough pace to be with him, but then lost out with that last safety car. Forzan just got through the two Mercedes a little bit quicker. He pulled a gap and really just weren't really able to close that gap at the end there. But P2 with the podium.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to put my words together for that. I think this is probably the sixth or seventh time I've said this on this game. I officially feel too old to drive this game because I have not a clue what to do in the wet anymore. I don't. I threw on a full wet setup. I had like 50-41 wing, and it didn't even matter. It's like I might as well have not thrown the downforce on because I was still that much slower. I don't know. I'm really annoyed with myself because I don't know what I could have done differently, knowing what I know about the wet on this game. I mean, well done to Forzan. I just don't know what I should do differently. I just, is it the driver? It maybe has to be the driver. Really, it's the only variable left that hasn't been tweaked. Put a new driver in the car, but I want more.
Mm-hmm.
I sound really annoyed, and I apologize. You shouldn't have to hear that. I'm just like beside myself because I don't know what I could have done differently. I'm just flat out slower. It sucks.
Now you say you don't know what more you could have done. Is that on the pace driving standards or the strategy when to go to the tire?
I mean, I think with how we had the safety cars, I think the strategy was kind of just laid out on a platter for us in the end. I think driving wise, yeah, I'm too old for this stuff, man. I don't know what to say. I feel old at 25. Man, I just wasn't quick enough, and pace wasn't there, and that's on me in the end, I guess. Really. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how old you are, but if professionals still racing, so I feel like nobody's old enough.
Damn. All right, cool.
Sorry to make you feel old. I'm sorry. I just I'm beside myself because I don't know what I could do differently. I just wasn't good enough. Quite simply, I think that's the way to put it.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way in the wet conditions. It's always a mystery with what works, what doesn't. It seems like very unpredictable.
I try to think of the words to put it in. It's just that final stint. It felt like nothing that I did in the first kind of inter run mattered, because I think in the first inter run I felt like I was doing fine. It's right there, and then I'm just losing 6 to 8 tenths in the final run. I don't know, man. I'm just beside myself because I don't know what I could do better. It just has to be. Driver wasn't good enough. Suffice to say.
Interesting. Well, this was round 1. You were reserving here tonight. At what capacity will we see you this season? When's Lawrence possibly going to show up next? Maybe a track that's dry, or just to hit your buttons a little bit.
There you go. Now, I mean, usually I have a league on a set of course that races on Wednesdays. I think they're gonna have a little bit of a break, so we'll see. I'll drive as long as I'm not racing in the AC league, because that's the thing I agreed to first. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I'm only a reserve here. We'll see. Whenever they're not racing, I'll try to make it. If I can't, I can't. If I can, I'll be here and try to put on a show for you.
Sounds great to me. Well, congrats on P2, even though you wanted more, but as us racers, we always want more. Come on.
You got it. Thanks for the talk. Thanks for the talk. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for the race. Wish I could have done a little bit better to put on more of a show.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great opening round. I enjoyed it a lot. But we'll go to the man of the hour in the Alfa Romeo, winning both the sprint race and the feature race, as well as grabbing the fastest lap with the additional extra point. He was on last episode on the Racing Debrief, episode 38, and we talked all things preseason. For season 17, we talked predictions for both series. We had Forzan on, and yeah, he kind of backed up a little bit what he said by winning round 1, getting maximum points. So Forzan, you must feel satisfied by tonight's performance.
I mean, yeah, I am of course happy that I got the win. I'm just sad about what happened in quality, because I would have won a pole position as well to have the perfect Wednesday, you know. But yeah, no, I'm super happy to grab the first win of the season. At a track that I really don't enjoy. Never been very good at either. But I guess on this game it was a little different. But yeah. No, I'm of course really happy.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a grand slam, because you did, like you mentioned, needed the qualifying first in the short qualifying, and I think that just backed up my statement of as us drivers, we always want more. But yeah, pace-wise, and any tricky conditions out there, it looked like you really had everything under control. There was one moment that you know, towards the end of the race, when both Mercedes had kind of lucked out in that strategy. It was a little bit of a question, you know, whether or not you would get past them, how quickly, but you handled that perfectly fine. Even starting 8th in the sprint, you were able to go back and win that. So it seemed like you had everything under control. Any mishaps tonight?
No, it's really only thing would be like Lawrence said. Like, I didn't feel like I had any grip at all in the wet, but So I also felt like I could have done more there. But yeah, no, I just took it race by race, just lap by lap. Didn't think too much, just drove pretty much.
All right, and speaking of race by race, next week we're at Miami. You did win a few seasons ago. You won the 100% race finale at Miami, so you must feel pretty good going there.
Yeah, it's a track I enjoy a lot. I don't overly enjoy the track limits on it, but the overall track, I just love the flow of it. And a lot of people hate the chicane in the middle of Sector 2, but I actually think it's one of the best
Me
parts
included.
of the track.
Really?
I fucking love that chicane.
I guess it depends if you can.
I guess it depends on the skill of the driver if you like it or not.
You know
Am I
what?
right?
You are right. Get in cockpit and then let me know if you like the chicane. Right, professional?
Hey, listen,
Yes,
I've
sir.
driven
Yeah.
there in
Yeah, go to
VR,
cockpit
so-
and turn off your line.
There
Cockpit
you
and no
go.
line.
I agree.
Listen.
Cockpit, no assist, no nothing. That's the way. Cockpit's
Listen.
I guess,
the most fun
I guess
way.
it's the old people that do that, you know?
Listen, I was gonna do VR on this season if the fucking updated to the F1 game didn't fuck up the performance.
Wait, no, it's fine. Just do cockpit.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
more
like.
fun.
I don't like cockpit in this game. I can't get it set up the way I like.
Oh, I could give you settings. Both me and Sean could, easy. Give it a try. Serious, it's more
Sure.
fun. I swear.
No, it is. It is a lot of fun. But yeah, that's why I hate that chicane, because in cockpit at Miami, you can't even see the curb. So
Yeah, no,
you're guessing every time.
It's a lot of fun in VR though, because it's the same
That
way.
is
You're
true.
just guessing.
I would be last final question. Were you in a party with Silent, and what was his reaction when he had that DNF earlier? What was his initial reaction?
I mean, of course, he was pretty upset. I'm not gonna say exactly what words, but yeah, no, but he was pretty upset. Also about lap 1, where he got taken out by Camden, I think it was. Which is kind of funny because I had an incident with Camden in quali, so he
Wow,
was an Alfa
yep.
Romeo Magnet today.
I thought it was Raikkonen who did that. I don't know. I just saw Haas arrow it down the inside, and I was like, I'm not taking that inside line. I'm not going to be able to make the corner. And I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah, no, I just looked back and saw a Haas spinning as well. So yeah, I don't really know what happened, but yeah, he wasn't overly happy. But yeah, we'll get a good team result next week instead.
Absolutely. Well, good thing we have a 2-race buffer. Silent could possibly use one of those tonight. Although, I think that's going to do it for the post-race interviews and round 1. That was round 1 of the Mexican Grand Prix here for the Elite Series. It was our debut here tonight in Season 17 for TCR. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and sharing your Wednesday evening with myself. It has been a pleasure, and we'll definitely do it again next week. We're at Miami for round number 2 Challenger Series on Tuesday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Elite Series, same time, same place next week, as well as February 8th. Next Thursday, not sure if we're going to be streaming it, but iRacing starts up with Super Formula. So if you're on iRacing or know anybody, we are looking for signups. So that starts next week, next Thursday. Other than that, you can check out more things TCR in the description. We have our website, all things on our website. We have some TCR merch, Fanatec affiliation link also in the description. Join the Discord for more information. Find us on social media at eTrinity Racing. And until next time, it's been Seafreeze. It's been a pleasure. We'll do it again. Have a good night, everybody.